Welcome to Rational Scale Modelling. This is part 9 of AMT's Star Trek USS Enterprise. Scale is 1 to 650. And this is the Constitution class Enterprise. So I'm building this as a what if. So I've decided to paint it in a tartan paint. Now, if you haven't done so, why don't you go and check the introduction of the video and I'll explain all my thoughts around that. So in this part, starting the painting process now. So I'm just moving on to the different colours, building up the tartan pattern. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. Now I'm moving on to the secondary hull here, and the masking process is exactly the same. It's a saucer section, but it takes a little bit longer than the saucer section, and this is due to the shape of the hull. I've taken my measurements from the saucer section. I didn't record that for some reason, but all I did was put the neck into the saucer section and measured it from there. So hopefully it will line up when I put it all together. It's always a bit of a risk doing it that way, but it's better to mask and paint like this than assembling it all, than doing it, because it becomes more difficult to mask how you having to work your way around certain objects. So it's better to do it this way. You just have to rely on your measurements and a little bit of luck to see whether you've got it all matched up. But when you're masking at a curved area like this, just be aware you are going to have to press the masking tape down quite firmly to form the sail, even if you're varnishing it to stop any light bleeds and that. It's just the nature of the shape of the area that you're masking off. And don't be tempted to stretch the masking tape. Let the masking tape fall naturally on the area, because if you stretch it, it can spring back, and then everything will go out of alignment as well. The same rule applies to this as the saucer section. The first markings that you put down are the important ones, because this will form the rest of the pattern. So you want to get this part 100% right, or as close as possible to it. So as you can see there, I'm just moving the dividing strip to form the area that's going to be painted. So as I said, the pattern is going to change slightly because of the tone of the paint that I made up. So I'll just bring up the original photograph here of the original pattern while I'm masking off the hull, and you can see the pattern there. It's the blue is darker than I've got on there. As I said, when it's mixing the paint, that's solely because I like the blue that I came up with. I could have went darker, but I really like this shade of blue, so I decided to keep it. So the tones are going to be slightly different, and I may do the block colours a little bit different as well. I'll say I will go once the green goes down, and the areas that I'm marking off, this is for the green stripes that I'm putting down. And once I've got the main borders down, I'm just once again removing any excess tape that needs to be removed to form the pattern, of course. And I've simply done this by using a new blade on my hobby knife and gently cutting through the tape to remove it. Then it's on to the warp nacelles, and the pattern again is being made up just the same way, using the masking tape as a guide once I get my first line on. The masking of the nacelles is actually the easier part of the painting process for the tartan. It's the nature of the shape of the nacelle. There's enough markings on it to show you where you're going to be putting your lines and so on. So it's quite a simple process, this part. And as I said, the other thing is the amount of time it takes. It does, again, obviously it takes a long time to mask them off. And this is only the first stage of the masking as well, I should point out. And now I'm ready to put down the next colour, which is the green. So I'm just laying down the paint in between the masking tape. Again, nice thin coats to begin with. This will take around about 2 coats until maybe 3, until I'm happy with the tone. But like everything, it's just a matter of building up that colour. And after a couple of hours, once the paint's dry, I'm just re-varnishing everything. This is to protect the paint for the next process. So I've let the varnish dry for a good few hours, so it's time to do the next mask. And this will be for the yellow border that I'll be placing on. And I'm using the masking tape that I'd already put on as the guide to build that stripe. So it's the same process once more. I'm putting down the initial border line first of all, and then a secondary piece of masking tape to form the area that I'm going to be painted in, so that everything is the same distance. Now this, like before, this is a very thin piece of tape that I'm using. And then the third bit of tape to form the other border. And this will give me the channel that I need to paint on. By removing the middle section, I'll just pull it off now so that you can see. And so that you can see the channel there that will be painted into the next colour. And then once more, I'm removing any of the excess tape with my hobby knife. So even though it looks complicated, it isn't. It just it's really repetitive. It's the same processes over and over again to build up the tartan colour. Then after laying down a central piece of masking tape, I can then re-varnish. Once again, this is to stop any paint bleed. And we'll carry on with the same process with the secondary hull and the nacelles. So you can see the nacelles are getting the same treatment, just building up that grid work. I'm in about, I would say, about a week and a half, 2 weeks into the build at this point. Just to give you a bit idea how much time this takes to do. And the next colour I'm using is going down, so this is the yellow colour, and I'm using a fine brush here just to paint in through the channel. And I have to be quite careful here that I don't go onto the other paint, even though it is all masked off. I'm not just going to slap the paint on. You still want to paint in between the lines, obviously, but don't be too heavy-handed with the paint as you put it on, because you will probably get some paint bleed even through all the processes. So I removed the masking tape, and as you can see, there's some of the yellow came off. I suspect I didn't leave it long enough to dry. It's not a disaster. It's quite easy to fix. I'll just remask it and paint it. I don't have to mask the whole thing again, just where the yellows came off. And it probably happened, as I said, because I didn't leave it long enough to dry. There's quite a few layers of varnish and everything on here at this point. So you really should make sure it's completely hard dry before going on to the next part. And I don't think I did that, so hence why the paint came off. As I said, not a great disaster at all. Maybe a tad annoying, but it's just the nature, as I say. You know, it's just a matter of remasking and painting some of the lines in. And this is where I'll leave part 9. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for my other builds? There may be something out there that you'd like to see. Also, why don't you subscribe to the channel while you're there, and if you do so, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build, but all my other builds as well. As you can see there, I'm just touching up some paint. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course, you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.